This is the way.
Welcome back to the Cave of Wonders, Dreamwalkers. I am your Sith Lord Callith. I am where Star Wars lives. And this is another Rancorous review, the Mandalorian edition. So if you're new here to the channel, I need you to subscribe, hit that like button, then turn on notifications so you can join the Dreamwalkers on our journey. Today we'll be discussing episode 3, The Sin. So let's jump right in. The story begins with the Mandalorian on his way to return the bounty he captured on Arvala 7, the child, Baby Yoda. And we get to see a little more of this guy in action as he climbs down from his transport and curiously plays about the controls on the ship console. The Mandalorian receives a brief message from Greef Karga praising him for his success before he heads planetside. As he disembarks with the child in tow, he makes his way through the town. Now, I appreciate this scene as it details the grit and imperfections of the Outer Rim worlds, especially during this time period with the fall of the Empire. We see another craft land next to the Razor Crest, and I'm hearing some say that this is the Ghost, but as you can see, there are distinct differences between the two ships, namely the cockpit and the wings. And while it might be a cool tie-in at some point, this is not in fact the Ghost as flown by Hera Syndulla. Another thing I very much like about this scene is how in tune the child is to its surroundings. Is it the living force or simply a child's fear of its new surroundings? We see all kinds of aliens, droids, humans, and none with a kind expression on its face. But it's when the Mandalorian arrives at the Imperial Remnant's door that the child's apprehension seems to actually blossom into fear, as if he is aware of the evil the Empire represents. Escorted into the building by 2 stormtroopers, the Mandalorian displays its protective nature, as he warns the trooper to handle the child with care. Now, once they reach Dr. Pershing and the Imperial character played by Herzog, whom I think is a former Imperial governor or someone of the like, Pershing scans the child's vitals and they determine that it is indeed healthy. Now, after the Imperial rep compliments the Mandalorian, he questions how many other hunters were sent on the mission, to which the imp implies several, and then presents our hero with the cache of Beskar steel. Now, this is a great scene because you can see the conflict going on inside the bounty hunter's mind. You can feel it. He's torn between the code and this seemingly helpless child. And this conflict prompts him to question the Imperial's intentions with the child. And it is the Imperial's response, a threat, disguised as an insult, that continues to make me believe that he is going to be the deadliest of any adversary the Mandalorian will come against. The Mando takes the steel and heads directly to the Enclave to visit the smith. And as he passes through the halls, his spoils catch the eyes of the other Mandos scattered about. And here, one particular Mando caught my eye. He turns to look as our hero passes, and you can see here that this armor, the color scheme, and especially the helmet have an uncanny resemblance to the legendary Boba Fett. Now, I could be entirely wrong, but the similarities are just too close for me to ignore. Let's move on though. The Mandalorian presents the cache of Beskar to the smith, and she explains that she can forge a complete cuirass from the amount he has presented to her. And that's when the room fills with onlookers, one whom tries to insult our hero by belittling the worth of his Beskar due to the Imperial signet. This Mando, who I believe is Dominic Pace, does a great job sounding like Canderous Ordo, though I know that wasn't his intention. The Mandalorian from KOTOR, voiced by the late John Segan or Saigan. The two nearly kill each other, though, with their vibro knives, and when the Smith invokes the Mandalorian code, "This is the way," tensions settle, and we learn that the beast from episode 2 is called a Mudhorn, and that's fitting. The Smith suggests that it become our hero's signet, but he declines, offering that it was not an honorable kill because he had help from the child. So instead, she crafts him a weapon, whistling birds. And during the crafting scene, again, our hunter has another flashback to when he was a child and the attack on his home. Here we see super battle droids from the Clone Wars era destroying everything in sight. And when she's finished, the Mandalorian has a completely new armor set forged from Beskar, from helmet, pauldron, cuirass, bracers, leg pieces, all Beskar steel. And he makes his way to the Bounty Hunters Guild for his next job. Greef Karga tries to discourage him and suggests that he take some time off to relax, but the Mandalorian only wants to keep working. Realizing there's no changing his mind, Greef finally gives him the first choice of 3 bounties, Far Away. And the Mandalorian chooses a Mon Calamari nobleman's son, who skipped bail out in the ocean dunes of Karlak. Before he leaves, though, he asks Greef about the Imperial's intentions with the child. Honoring the code, Greef never asked and suggests that if the Mando is so concerned with the Imperial's presence, that he should report their activities to the New Republic, to which the Mando scoffs and turns up his nose. He leaves and boards his ship full of doubt, and just as he's about to take off, his conscience gets the best of him. He disengages and heads over to the Imperial building. Now, during some recon, we overhear Herzog's character say, "Extract the necessary material and be done with it," leading us to conclude that Baby Yoda is either a clone itself, or they intend to clone Baby Yoda. Knowing that his time is short, the Mandalorian breaks into the Imperial building in search of the child. He completely destroys the stormtroopers within and finally finds Dr. Pershing in a room with Baby Yoda confined on a table. And one user, I believe on Reddit, was clever enough to notice that the patch on Pershing's arm is the same symbol worn by the clones on Kamino from Attack of the Clones. So now the only question is, of course, do we have a clone or are they trying to make one? The Mandalorian spares Pershing and makes his escape after effectively destroying a group of troopers using the whistling bird weapon, which was badass. But unfortunately, every hunter in the guild has now been alerted to his actions, and on his way to his ship, he is surrounded by the entire guild. Greef Karga pleads with him to surrender the child, but Mando wants no part of a bargain. He just gets to shooting. This is the way. Outnumbered and outgunned, the Mando nearly loses the battle until the entire Mando clan comes out of hiding to offer their support. Of course, this means they will have to relocate, but they help the Mandalorian escape to his ship where Greef Karga was waiting. Now, after a brief exchange, Mando deals what he may or may not believe to be a fatal shot to Greef's chest, knocking him out of the ship. But Greef was saved by the Beskar steel tucked in his vest, and he's left to watch the Mandalorian take to the sky with the child unscathed. And that is where this story ends. Easily the best episode so far. This series has been nothing short of brilliant. They have done a see this making me burp. They have done a fantastic job of showcasing the Mandalorian culture, respecting the lore. We have a character that is flawed, that is compassionate, that is honorable, and a badass all rolled into one. With each episode, I can't wait for the next. I'm anxious to see what Dr. Pershing's deal is. I want to know if I'm right about this Imperial Remnant leader. Is Baby Yoda a clone, or are they trying to clone him? Was that Boba Fett in the Enclave? Did you guys see that Zabrak Hunter? And live action Mandalorians? It doesn't get better than that. But you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments. I can't wait for next Friday. I need you guys to remember one thing. I do what I love. I hope you love what I do. This has been another Rancorous review. This is the way. Until next time.